with summer quickly approaching, maybe it's already here for you. I'm going to share with you the process that I went through, the questions I asked to help me get ready to know how we wanted to use our summer effectively and be able to enjoy it as well, but what the priorities needed to be for school. So whether you're homeschooling or in public school or your kids aren't in school yet, you will be able to work through this process to feel confident about what you are doing with your kids this summer.
Hi, I'm Jessica Jackson, and this is the new way to thrive in motherhood by leaning into who you are, what you love, your unique family situation, and personal mission to create a life that you actually want to live. I want to invite you to join me in saying no to the life of the exhausted supermom, burnout, victim thinking, being pulled in so many directions, suffering through survival mode, or being lost in motherhood, and say yes to building strong families and moving forward on our greatest goals in order to create a fulfilling life that we are excited to wake up to each day and become a soaring mother. This is the Thriving in Motherhood podcast.
If you are in a hard season right now, I would love for you to go get my free checklist, the 5-step path from surviving to thriving at thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/checklist. It will guide you through the process of figuring out exactly where you are along the path and what you can do right now to start making a difference today and how you are feeling about your life, especially when all the kids are at home with you this summer. I feel like there are so many options when it comes to summer and so many different philosophies and schools of thought, especially when you add like homeschooling to the mix about how we should be using that time, right? For me this year though, it kind of, once we hit April, I just realized we were all kind of tired and I needed to figure out what we were going to focus on, what was going to matter most to us. And so I really just started asking this question: what does each of my kids need to be prepared for the fall, for what's next? And for us, when I went through that question for each child, when I went through that question for myself, when I went through that question for our home and our family systems, it really acted as kind of this guiding star, and everything else has fallen away. So your answers are going to be totally different than mine for each of your children, for your home, for your family. But for me, what do I need to do to be prepared for what's coming next in this fall season is helpful and clarifying to me. So I'm going to tell you my answers and would love to hear yours below in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or shoot me an email if you're getting it that way, listening to the podcast. Love to hear. So for us, we wanted to keep going with math. We've had because of when I've had all of my babies in the fall, we have kind of like a funny disjointed school schedule where a lot of we like start in January instead of in October. And so we've kind of been doing, I wouldn't say catching up, but we're finally in this season of like really good momentum with our math. And I just want to keep going this summer. We're going to be traveling all of July. So for me, I figure we'll stop probably the last week of, a week before June gets out. Or maybe last week of June, probably. With some of these more academic things, we'll have a break when we're just totally traveling with our family, and then come back in August. So that's kind of my parameters. So we will be doing math. Now I have kids in 3 different maths right now. I have my oldest in CTC math. She loves the autonomy that comes from that program and being able to get an immediate grade and feedback on how she's doing. It's been a great fit for our family. My second son right now is doing Saxon math and he's doing 4-5. So he's technically in 2nd grade doing the 4-5 book because I bought it for my 10-year-old, but she wasn't interested in it. So I was like, well, you're pretty good at this. So they're doing that. And then I've got my youngest doing Right Start math. That would be probably my favorite. Like if I had the capacity to do individual math for a decent amount of time with each child every day consistently, I would love to do Right Start math for all of them. I have nothing, I love that program. I just found that I was the bottleneck and not able to get to every kid consistently across the board. And so we started to simplify. But I feel like it provides a phenomenal foundation for those early years, which is why we stick with it. And I have all the stuff. That's another reason. Okay, spelling. I have a child that really needs help with spelling. It's like some of the kids, it's just getting better naturally. Another child, it's not. And so what I decided to do was go ahead and invest in All About Spelling. Now, we've done All About Reading for our kids to learn how to read. And now that I have 3 readers and one that's still a year or 2 away from that, I was like, okay, I can divert some of that energy and attention into spelling this summer. And we'll see how we're going, how it's going. I'm not sure what the fall looks like yet, but that's definitely something that we're making progress on this summer, and it's going great. I'm excited about it. We are going to be starting the Alviary in the fall. This is kind of an experiment for me. I'm excited about it. I have a code if you want to check it out to get a discount, but it's a Charlotte Mason program, and it's like lesson plans are included completely, like written out. And so for me, I don't know if we're going to do it long term. I definitely, like, my goal this year, this upcoming school year, is to learn as much as I can for me as the, homeschooling mom teacher, learn more about the self-education, learn, set up lessons well, and also give my kids some more autonomy as they learn how to do some of these skills. But I just wanted a little, I don't know, teacher training in this area. But as part of that, they have a 4-year history cycle, and they're starting back at ancient history. And because of that, we've done ancient history all the way up to, we haven't hit modern history yet. So we've done Story of the World 1, 2, and 3. And so this summer, I got the audiobook and the activity book and the physical book, because I always think, I don't need them all, but then, like, we like using them all. And so we've got a timeline up on our wall, and every time we're in the car, we're listening to Story of the World number 4 and trying to get through modern history. I also use the Alvieri recommendations from their year this year. You can go on YouTube and see their books, and I found what they had their kids read for literature and historical fiction for the modern historical time period. And I had quite a few of those books, and we'll check some out from the library and just read those for fun with my kids, or have them, my older readers, read them on their own, just so that we have at least some, with Story of the World, it'll be great. It'll be a great, like, touch of the modern history before we go all the way back to beginning again. But again, this is unique to me in my situation of what do we need to do to be prepared for the fall. And for us, like, I want to get through some good amounts of history. So we've gone the full spectrum. The other thing that I thought would be lovely is if we started something called Writing Club. So I'm not super worried about any of my kids continuing on with curriculum during the summer, but I think it is nice to write. We still are doing, to some degree, our journaling in the evenings. So each child has a journal. This is mostly my older two. My younger ones have it too, but my older two, they journal every night, and their ability to write has skyrocketed because we've been doing daily journaling. But they also have this desire to write stories. So we just went to the store, we bought lined notebooks, wide ruled notebooks, so that they can write stories. And they're just having so much fun. This is something where I was like, hey, here's a fancy notebook. Hey, you all have story ideas. Here, write it. We'll share our stories. It'll be fun. So it's very low key, low pressure, but something that they are enjoying, and something that's just a nice way to do something different and write. My big focus for May right now, as I'm thinking about what would help us, is our kids' bedrooms. So we have been outside a lot in the winter, spring months for our family here in Georgia, like living outside, and it's been amazing. I will update you maybe next week. I don't know. I'll update you on what we've been doing out there. It's been pretty extensive for the last few months, but that means that inside we've been keeping, like, our downstairs main level really easy to tidy and clean. Bedrooms have been very neglected, and so during May we're gonna brush up bedrooms. We might build some beds, we'll see. For my older two kids, they're in small rooms, so we're thinking maybe build them loft beds. But anyway, that is something for our house that would make, like, a huge difference. And then in June, I'm going to be prepping for a huge road trip, which I can link a video below about how I do that, and also prepping for the Alvieri curriculum. So by that point, I'll have my lesson plans and all the book lists, and be able to kind of figure out what we're doing, so that when we get back in August, I should be fairly ready to go. This also looks like setting up our environment downstairs. So I'm starting to do a lot of organizational prep for what my younger kids are going to do during our school day, as well as the older kids, and just try and make the environment help things flow at, like, a much higher level than I have in the past, so that it can accommodate my older kids, like everybody doing school, because I will have pre-K, 1st, 3rd, and 5th grade in the fall. So I feel like it's just more kids to organize and streamline and figure things out. So that is my focus. It's pretty straightforward. And so every day it's just now using my Thriving in Motherhood Planner. And I've, simplified. I've broken up what I have into 2 months for my personal projects, focusing on bedrooms in May and Alvieri prep in June. We also have some continuing outside projects going on. And so I just have, like, listed that out on the monthly page. And then every week in my Thriving in Motherhood Planner, I'm picking out my big 3 for the week, and or the next step that I can put on my like home list and my context-based to-dos. And so I'm just constantly moving these little things forward, even though there's so many other things going on with doctor's appointments and, you know, kids activities and getting together with friends and book groups. And like, there's a lot happening and just work. And anyway, life is crazy and good and awesome and full. But because of how I've set things up with the Thriving in Motherhood Planner, I'm able to move these things forward in bits and bobs and pockets of times, which you can learn all about that at thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/more time. And I walk you through the entire system if you want to learn more about how to do that. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you more next week.
Where you are planted, watch the blossoms grow.